Ladies, gentlemen, dudes, dudettes, it is time. We are 10 days away, people, from early access being released. Can you believe it? I can't believe it. We're here, people. We've been waiting all this time. There's been talk for years and years and years. We've gone through beta test 1, beta test 2, nights toiling over the game, many conversations being had as to how this game is going to play out, when we'll actually be able to play the game and have control over the game in some kind of way. And we're finally here. Can you believe it? It's hard to believe that I started following this game 2 whole years ago, almost to the date. And it was just a dream. It was just a vision. It was just, moving parts. And now we're here to where we're talking about 10 days from now, paying $29.99 to have early access to the game. Now, hold up. There's a lot of people upset that this game is only released on early access for PC. A lot of console players don't really understand or grasp the reasoning. And I'm here as a beacon of hope for those people. I myself was just a console player, only a console player. I do have the PS5 here. I've got the Xbox Series S right here. And just for this game's sake, mainly, I bought a PC, a gaming PC. Got one custom built, and I'm loving it. Even for my regular task, I'm loving it. It's so fast. It's so smooth. The process I'm just in and out, so smooth. I'm an advocate for anybody getting on the PC train, whether you're a heavy gamer or you have a few games you want to play and you want something a little bit faster than the computer you do have. PC is where it's at. Investing in a PC is where it's at. For the people who feel like they're stuck on console and have no chance of playing early access, there's gaming PCs for as low as $250. You can get a gaming laptop, plug your HDMI into a decent monitor, and you're gaming just like the rest of us. There's really no reason for dissent towards console or this game being released on console, as PCs themselves, the price of them have gone down tremendously. Now, with the cheaper PC, will you get tremendous performance? Not really. But you can choose on most games between high graphics or high performance, excellent graphics or excellent performance. And I always tend to move in the performance direction because you're talking about getting the best frame rates per second. Also, I'm hoping there's an offline mode on early access, and you won't have to worry so much about connectivity and there's ways to play the game early, just like everybody else. There's no need to panic. And obviously, speaking from a man's perspective, we're goal-oriented people anyway. If getting a gaming PC is something that we have a goal of doing, we set out a path to do so. It's not something that's out of sight, out of mind. You don't have to have $2,000. That's a myth. That's a misconception. So, I want to talk about early access. I found a few articles on Exola. And early access, will it help or hurt your game? This is for the people who don't understand. I'm seeing a ton of people on Twitter talking about, why is it only on early access, only on PC? Why can't it? When's it coming to console? When's it coming to console? If you look under Undisputed's post about early access release date, there are countless, I mean thousands of people saying,
what about console? Console.
A few months ago, maybe 4 months ago, that would have been me. But I'm always the type person to go research and figure out what's in it for the company, what's in it for the game itself to be released on console versus released on console and both PCs, or console and PC and 3 consoles, PC and both consoles. I always go into depth and figure out what benefits is this going to bring to the table as far as the game itself and getting out of the early access stage sooner. I'm going to read some of this article. I don't think console users tend to browse forums and post feedback on their consoles. So early access, there may be less about collaborating with users on the game. And secondly, it's harder for console users to find out about games before they buy them. So users might be more likely to get burned by misleading storefronts. The developers definitely make a valid point. The consoles have a very closed ecosystem, and it will be difficult to have such a system on PS4, PS5, or Xbox. Will this change in the future? Only time will tell. For now, it's looking extremely unlikely. Going forward, advantages of early access for developers. The most obvious advantage of releasing a game on early access is the ability to engage in public beta testing. Developers can collect valuable feedback from early access buyers before the game's final launch, saving the studio both time and money, fixing major issues after release. And for anybody that played the beta, you realize, man, when things were going wrong, they would announce on Twitter, new patch, new update, just reload the game, and boom, it was there. The fix was there. They were able to fix things in real time and communicate. The devs were communicating with the people on the Steam community page. It was all happening in real time. It was so amazing, and you really get an insight on how hard these dev teams work to fix things when they actually care. You know, you get true insight on how hard they're grinding. MoonQuest developer Ben Porter shared a few thoughts about his game's time on early access. I see early access as just a public beta test, so it's cool that people are into that. I had a bunch of testers buy and play the game and give great feedback that improved the game. At this point, I had been working on the game for 6 years. The marketing potential of releasing on early access can't be ignored either. More eyes will be on your game, and if you take this route, and there's something uniquely entertaining about it, word will spread. Steam users are likely to wishlist your game even if they don't buy it outright, which adds to the potential pool of customers once you release. Even if your game stays in early access for long periods of time, it can still benefit from accumulated hype. For example, the number of concurrent players and Twitch viewers skyrocketed when Besiege released after 5 years of early access. Wow. The early access market is extremely volatile and unpredictable. One rocky launch could cause irreparable financial ruin to your game or studio. So they are taking a risk doing this. This is total confidence in their product and what they're putting out there, and it shows that they're pretty confident that they have exactly what the people want, and if it's not exactly what they want, that they're just a few patches, a few updates away. That's what stage they're in. You have a solid alpha or beta build with mechanics that are polished enough to take full advantage of testing. You're early enough in the development cycle to implement player feedback, but far enough in to show that your game has promise. You don't need additional funding if your launch is quiet, but you would be able to hire more staff, pay for better assets, and other opportunities presented by an early injection of capital. Boom. So, okay, that's the major part to me that sticks out. By $29.99 here, $29.99 times 50,000 people, it's a lot of freaking money. That's more money to hire more staff, to get things done faster, to possibly get to full release faster, to hire, more commentators, more fighters, more trainers, more cutmen, to input more because the capital is there. Although most companies, or this company does have some investors and they've had companies invest in their product, doing this allows us to be able to play the game like we've been asking for so long. And also, it allows them to recover some of the capital that they invested in making the game itself. Don't rely on early access to fund your game, but do look at the platform as a potential avenue for additional income. Make sure you're ready to implement feedback in order to keep interest in your game high until the official launch. Make sure your game is playable and professional to garner positive attention and stand out from the rest. But don't release a finished game either. Be aware that the potential PR nightmare is often attributed to a rocky early release launch, but don't expect to ride the wave of a good launch either. There's still work to be done. Unfortunately, early access has its own reputation, and if you choose to release here first, some of that reputation might rub off onto your title. So big risk, huge reward, but also huge risk. I almost, from doing my research, I almost can't tell which is greater unless you're talking about something that the game's been missing for a long time, and that's exactly what this is. Obviously, a sci-fi type game, a sports game, a regular like basketball or football game could be a big hit or miss because, there's been something that you can put your hands on in those genres for so long. There's a lot of comparisons. There's only one comparison that people can use for this game, and that's Fight Night Champion. That game is long in the past, and I think when a lot of those people get their hands on everything this game has to offer, not just online head-to-head, but the depth of it, I think that comparison will be put to bed because Fight Night Champion was very bare bones. It was very bare bones. You had your online mode. I think it set a good precedent for what Fight Night, the series, could have been, but the fact that they stopped making it, they stopped building, and they were doing a pretty good job of building that franchise. But the investing into Madden and NBA Live and moving away from EA Sports for a while and going to the EA product kind of just, I don't know, man. And then UFC came along. They just said, screw Fight Night. And now they screwed up the UFC games. So big risk, big rewards. Many players see this platform as a haven for these throwaway titles. If you don't separate your game from the rest, people may subconsciously label your game as just another cash grab. I don't have any look. There's no chance that this can happen because they've invested so much getting Ring Magazine, CompuBox, all of these big name fighters. Although there are fighters that haven't been revealed that people are clamming at the bit for. Obviously, people want your Devin Haney's and your Mike Tyson's and your Manny Pacquiao's, your Triple G's, your Spence. And who's to say those aren't coming? Who's to say those aren't already there? And you can't really reveal everything for early access. Like they said, you don't want to release the full game. You want to build intrigue for, a select amount of material and go off that. So while you might be months or years away from official release, remember your early access customers still expect updates and bug fixes. We already know they're going to do that. We've already experienced that with the betas. They're excellent at doing that. Like it's unheard of how freaking active they were doing those beta tests. They were tweeting out till 1 a.m. about what they're fixing, what they're going to fix for tomorrow, what to expect. You wake up in the morning, they've already tweeted about what they did and what patches they put in there. Excellent job by them. They're doing your dirty work by testing the game, and it's your job to fix bugs as they arise. Otherwise, the public will start to lose interest. Worse still, unresponsive developers during early access can lead to a complete loss of trust. It isn't easy to fix a bad reputation after years of ignoring community feedback. That's what a lot of these companies do. They put a product out and they just totally ignore the community. They totally ignore the negative feedback. And, criticism, negative feedback is supposed to make you better. Just like, playing ball or boxing itself. Any kind of feedback from a person that's constructive and a person that's been hands-on with the product is great to take in because you want to know how you can improve your product. You want to know other people's experience, people that haven't invested years and years of time, people that just pick up and play because those are the people who's going to buy the product. Okay. Going with early access also runs the risk of stealing momentum from your early release. If you have a rocky pre-release launch, you aren't able to address community feedback or business concerns, slow development, you run the risk of players ignoring your game. Keep in mind, you're charging a discounted price during early access, but you'll be asking for the full price at launch. So for the people thinking that, I paid $30, so when it comes out, I'll be paying $20. No, we're going to be paying the full amount for this game. And now I know for most, that's not an issue. So we're all just cheering these guys on, and we want to get through this early access process smoothly. Maybe 3, 4, 5 months, maybe. Hopefully we're not, going till Christmas with this. And we want to get these console players in the loop and get them hands on as well. That console players are going to be a major portion of who puts money in these guys' pockets, and they know that. They see your feedback. They see that you want it on console. Don't get it twisted. This is a very critical phase of the development cycle, early access, and having a smaller group test it out. But trust me, they want to get this to console, man. That's where the big bucks are at. You want to maximize buyers at at full release. Early access also might be a bad thematic fit for your game. It just depends. It's a risk that's worth it. Let's see. Electronic Arts has their own early access program on Xbox One, but is limited when one compares it to Steam early access. So will a proper early access model work for the PlayStation or the Xbox, or is such a model possible in the first place? In a recent interview, Gaming Bolt raised the same question with Free Live Games, Richard Peterson, and Evan Greenwood. They said, early access on console at all is news to me. I think there's a couple problems with early access on consoles. Firstly, console users are a bit further removed from the developers of their games. There aren't easy ways for console users to communicate with the developers. I don't think console users tend to browse forums and post feedback on their consoles, so early access there may be less about collaborating with users on the game. And secondly, it's harder for console users to find out about games before they buy them. So users might be more likely to get burned by misleading storefronts. Those are valid points. maybe a slightly outdated. Maybe you incorporate a way for the console gamers to communicate with developers, and that becomes a big part of console gaming. Just a console update, you can add that in. A community feedback to the development team. That's not something that's foreign to us as gamers. So, y'all, time is now, man. I'm gonna tell you what. These 10 days, don't even worry about it. The time's gonna fly by. We're gonna be gaming here before you know it. There's so much to wonder about this game. There's so much mystique about this game. There's a lot of people who've gotten PCs since the betas who didn't get to play the betas, and they can't wrap their mind around what is happening on this game. I will say this. While there's a few things that can be adjusted, the only way for them to fine-tune things is to put it back in our hands, and that's exactly what they're doing. There's a lot of people talking about, oh, the punches are stiff, all the power shots are overloaded, oh, you have to load up for this. Okay, well, they're giving it to us early so we can get the feedback to them, and they can fine-tune these things before it goes to console full release, before they ask for $59.99 for it, $69.99, whatever the heck this game is going to be. And I think there's a lot of those main fighters that people want that are waiting to see how this goes. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I want to quote the woke sports fan. He said something really just intriguing in our group chat. He says, "There's no negative to being in the game. There is a possible negative to not being in the game. There's no negative to being in the game. They're obviously representing fighters very well on this game, and I don't think that's an issue where you feel like as a fighter you might get misrepresented. But that is a very intriguing, and it's so true. Being in this game can only do you well as a boxer, especially, if you're a guy who you're a great boxer, you have a great record, but you don't sell out pay-per-views, you don't necessarily pull crazy, amazing ratings. Who knows, man? You might have thousands and thousands of people enjoy your character on this game and want to go back and watch your fights from the past to see how to fight with you, and then next thing you know, they're looking for your next fight on TV. That's literally how it works, y'all. Guys that, with NBA 2K, they do a pretty good job putting signature moves on guys and replicating those guys to the T, so that when these young people go play the game and they're like, whoa, that player can do that, let me go look his highlights up. Now they're looking to look for those guys when they're actually on TV. That's how your fan base grows right there. There's absolutely no negative to being in the game. And I think that every some form of agent or financial, life coach, mentor, whatever, knows that. But we're here, y'all.
Undisputed is here. Steel City Interactive. You already know what the deal is. You already know what we came to do. You already know what's going down. It's Undisputed, baby.
And we're here for it. We're here for it. Let the naysayers be naysayers, man. Let the haters hate. Let the doubters doubt. I remember people saying, "Oh, the game's never gonna come out. It'll be 2055 by the time the game comes out. My grandkids will be done." Look where we are now, y'all. So don't ever let the public opinion sway you. Sway you in a direction. Just look at the facts. Look at what's going on, and trust the process, man. And shout out to Todd Grisham. Shout out to all these guys that are doing their thing, man. At the end of the day, you already know. Respect. We are out of here, baby. Yeah, I'm so ready to play this game, man. Y'all don't even understand. Freaking ready to. You know what I mean? Get ready to get it in, bro. Yeah, man. Hopefully we can do some private matches where we can call out a friend. Leave a little fight request for them if they're not online, and when they get online, they can, hit us back on there, and you can get it in, man. Hopefully, it's not just random matchmaking the whole time. Offline modes against AI. We need to test that AI out. We need to see what that AI is talking about. We want to see the tendencies, and we want to see what it's like with that difficulty all the way up. I know I do. I want to get in there against the AI and put that difficulty up. I'm trying to rock out with the AI. And also, my content creator buddies and It's always nice to find random opponents that you end up lashing on to. You have great matches, and then maybe you can rematch and start an online rivalry with them. And I think that would be great for the game too. Online rivalries, maybe you can create stables. There's so much, bro. There's so much you can do with the game. Well, we gotta wait and see, man. Undisputed, early access, PC only, January 31st. 10 days later, holla at me.